It is the fault of the WNBA because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day.
The LPGA went above and beyond to highlight Caitlin Clark's abilities and capitalize on her star power, revealing everything the WNBA was incorrect about her in a shocking revelation that is hard to deny.
I'm trying to think of who else maybe could play today, especially in women's sports, that would create this kind of attention. The true buzz that Caitlin Clark has shown across the entire sports world in such a short period of time.
The WNBA has taken a different tack, disregarding her accomplishments and passing up numerous chances to improve the league. Even worse, this isn't a one-time error. It's beginning to appear as though there was a conscious attempt to limit Caitlin's influence despite her indisputable contributions to the sport.
They didn't want to give her too much praise. They didn't want to prop her up too much and forget about everyone else who came before her.
The WNBA is more concerned with keeping Caitlin in the background and putting justice above greatness than with leveraging her momentum to advance the game, which hurts not only Caitlin but the league as a whole.
There was just so many things that it felt like it was always just a little bit of a push. Like, make sure you don't do too much. We don't want to give her too much praise. We don't want to tweet about her too much. We don't want to post about her too much. We don't want to give her too much media coverage.
Not to mention that Caitlin Clark has increased women's basketball's global visibility, record-breaking viewership, and fan involvement.
Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days what would have taken 5 years.
However, the WNBA chose to remain mute at a crucial point in her career, her debut at an LPGA prom event, when it had a great opportunity to support one of their biggest players.
The fact that the WNBA posted nothing, zero. Let's just make sure that everyone else is also happy. Like, that seemed to be the consensus for the entire WNBA season.
In contrast, the LPGA, who paired her with their top golfer, heavily publicized the event and made it a huge success.
What were the nerves like hitting your opening tee shot here compared to what you normally do on the basketball court?
I don't get nervous for basketball, but I got a little nervous for this because I don't want to hit anybody, but honestly, I'm just trying to have fun.
We're dissecting how the LPGA outperformed the WNBA by embracing Caitlin, why this neglect isn't just a lost opportunity but a harmful trend, and what this means for the future of women's sports, specifically the WNBA, as Angel Reese and AIA Wilson continued to feed the narrative against Caitlin, transforming what should have been a celebration of her talent into a poisonous atmosphere of rivalry and exclusion.
You see her at this event. You see the kind of noise that this is making. You see that this is trending on social media. You see that SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, all of these places, every media outlet is covering this, and you don't say anything.
The NBA's failure to honor and celebrate Caitlin Clark is not merely an oversight. Rather, it represents a stark critique of the way the organization handles its best players.
I think Caitlin Clark is doing the right thing, rising above all of the crap that she's had to endure. The amount of fouls committed on Caitlin Clark higher than any other. Caitlin Clark was worried about playing the game, and that is why she got Rookie of the Year. She was not worried about the BS.
Caitlin should be the face of the sport's future because of her extraordinary skill and thrilling performances, which have brought women's basketball unequaled prominence. However, rather than capitalizing on her enormous fan base and historic achievements,
and it just goes to show that all of us who have been speaking out about this and saying, like, it doesn't seem like you guys are giving Caitlin, the kind of props that she deserves for bringing all these eyeballs and, the Caitlin Clark effect that we talk about, viewership, money, all of those things. All of the people who were shouting this for the entire WNBA season, this is an instance where we are proved correct.
The WNBA has decided to minimize her efforts. It seems like the league is worried about Caitlin overshadowing others because they have repeatedly passed up chances to promote her in ways that will advance both her career and the WNBA brand as a whole. Placing trivial worries ahead of the larger goal of advancing the sport, this issue became glaringly apparent during Caitlin's participation in the LPGA prom event. While the golf community used her celebrity to raise awareness of women's golf, the WNBA was completely absent. They didn't post about her, acknowledge her, or even celebrate the fact that one of their own was making waves in a different sport, however. They made sure Caitlin was in the spotlight during the coverage and relentlessly promoted the event by pairing her with their best player, Nelly Korda. The fans adored it. Social media saw the event trend, and the LPGA benefited from astute marketing. However, the WNBA chose to remain mute, passing up a fantastic opportunity to showcase one of their biggest talents' crossover appeal.
You see her at this event, you see the kind of noise that this is making, you see that this is trending on social media, you see that SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, all of these places, every media outlet is covering this.
In addition to being upsetting, the WNBA's silence conveyed a concerning message for a league that prides itself on promoting women in sports. This moment revealed a reluctance to fully embrace Caitlin Clark and the excitement she brings to the game. This isn't the first time the league has held back throughout the season. From delaying her Rookie of the Year recognition to downplaying her social media impact, it seemed like the WNBA was trying to minimize Caitlin's significance to avoid upsetting the status quo. Rather than celebrating her for bringing attention to women's basketball, they seemed more concerned with controlling her accomplishments.
LPGA did literally everything correct. They capitalized on the moment. They found a way to put it on television. They allowed people to be there. Caitlin was signing autographs. They put their best golfer in the tour, league, whatever it's called. They put her with Caitlin because they knew that she would get more eyeballs doing it. They propped up all of their golfers in one event.
In addition, Caitlin has been the target of criticism from the basketball community. Players like Angel Reese and AIA Wilson have made subtle and occasionally not so subtle jabs at her, fostering needless rivalry rather than fostering an environment of respect and empowerment. These dynamics not only hurt Caitlin, but the league as a whole as well by discouraging cooperation and limiting the visibility of its most valuable talent. Without the WNBA's full support, Caitlin Clark's impact can only go so far. This is not only Kate's loss, it's a loss for all young girls who aspire to be like her.
Ratings were phenomenal because of Caitlin Clark. But we all realize that Caitlin Clark single-handedly is responsible for the WNBA mattering.
The NBA's quiet was deafening in comparison to the LPGA's masterclass in promotion. What could have been a unifying moment turned into yet another instance of the league squandering its greatest possibilities. The WNBA is failing not only Caitlin Clark, but also the future of women's sports if they are unable to recognize the importance she adds to the game.
So Caitlin Clark's round of golf has finished today, and I'm going to be talking about it, and I'm also going to be talking about, like, in a video a little bit later, just about how the LPGA have, like, completely shown up the WNBA here. Like, they really have. Like, what the LPGA have done when it comes with the Caitlin Clark situation is exactly how you use the rising tide raises all boats.
The LPGA saw Caitlin Clark's ability to raise awareness of golf as a whole and not just their event, so they paired her with Nelly Korda to take advantage of her appearance at their prom event and turn it into a triumph for women's sports while the WNBA faltered. The world's top golfer was a brilliant move since it demonstrated the best of both disciplines in a mutually beneficial cooperation rather than just having a star presence.
Caitlin Clark has been the best thing, the most dominant thing to happen to the WNBA ever. Remember, there's been good players come out of college, but nobody really cared. We'd seen it. Nobody really cared.
While golf enthusiasts who followed Caitlin were able to witness her amazing crossover appeal, fans who came for Caitlin were introduced to Nelly. The LPGA didn't stop there, flooding their social media channels with videos and pictures of Caitlin, who fans saw interacting with the crowd, signing autographs, and genuinely enjoying the experience. The event was promoted as a celebration of talent unity and the growing power of women in sports, rather than just a competition. This type of strategic promotion did more than just elevate Caitlin. It also highlighted the LPGA as a company that knows how to grab an opportunity. By welcoming Caitlin, the LPGA created a win-win scenario in which the athlete and the league greatly benefited.
She's focusing on the game. She lifted her team up, got them to the playoffs, won Rookie of the Year, and then also is denouncing racial tensions when she's asked about it.
The most remarkable thing is how the LPGA handled the matter with poise and assurance, which the WNBA doesn't appear to have when it comes to marketing its own players. In contrast to the WNBA, which is obviously reluctant to accept Caitlin's widespread popularity, the LPGA embraced Caitlin's star power and didn't shy away from it out of concern that it would overshadow their golfers. They understood that attention for Caitlin is attention for the sport. This disparity in strategy demonstrates how far behind the WNBA is in terms of knowing how to establish a reputation and engage with fans.
What Caitlin Clark does is kind of simple, really. She shows up at games, she signs autographs, she talks to little girls wearing jerseys, She smiles to the crowd, and then here's the most important thing. She competes like a maniac. I mean like a maniac.
The WNBA should take note of the LPGA's treatment of Caitlin Clark and publicly celebrate her. The LPGA's fan base grew, and it received a ton of good press. The WNBA watched from the sidelines as another league benefited from promoting one of their own. But what's really shocking is how simple it would have been for the WNBA to join in the celebration. The event went viral on social media, garnered coverage from major outlets like SportsCenter and Bleacher Report, and demonstrated that women's sports can generate enormous interest when properly marketed. They could have done much more to support Caitlin and keep women's basketball in the public eye with a simple tweet, post, or even a small acknowledgement, but instead they remained silent, which only served to confirm the idea that the league is unable or unwilling to take advantage of the opportunities. As Caitlin Clark always does, this wasn't a squandered opportunity. In 10 years, the LPGA demonstrated that elevating Caitlin Clark is an opportunity rather than a danger, and it was a conspicuous failure to support an athlete who has done more to advance the sport in the past year than most leagues could dream for. If the WNBA had even half the LPGA's insight, they would have recognized that Caitlin Clark's ascent presents an opportunity to improve not only her profile but the league's reputation as a whole. Instead, they have left supporters wondering why the WNBA is unable to recognize what everyone else sees in Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is a generational talent whose name transcends the sport and attracts new fans to the game, but by failing to celebrate her, the WNBA risks alienating those fans and missing a rare opportunity to grow its audience. This neglect is not just short-sighted, it is actively detrimental to the league's future and to the countless young athletes who look up to Caitlin as a role model. The WNBA's refusal to embrace Caitlin Clark affects not only her but also the league itself and the advancement of women's sports as a whole. Among the most important concerns is how this conveys a terrifying message to an erring player. By ignoring Caitlin, the WNBA is not only ignoring her accomplishments but also deterring the next generation of talent from viewing the league as a viable and encouraging platform. Caitlin has broken records, redefined what is possible in women's basketball, and captivated audiences worldwide. If someone like her isn't celebrated, what does that say to other young athletes hoping to make it to the WNBA? It suggests that no matter how great their accomplishments might still be minimized and their efforts overlooked. Another effect of the WNBA's negligence is the split it causes within the sport. Players like a Wilson and Angel Ree, who have openly argued with Caitlin or minimized her accomplishments, are indicative of a bigger problem rather than promoting a culture of respect for one another and success. When based on mutual respect and competition, rivalries can be healthy for sports, but what we're witnessing here feels personal, exclusionary, and detrimental to the league's reputation. The WNBA should be the first to step in and champion its stars equally, but their silence only serves to heighten the negativity. This dynamic feeds a toxic rivalry that undermines the league's unity.